This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social. I'm here, Jessica McCaskill. I said to Rick, look, let's both get you down and sit down and do a proper one later on, but it seems like we've got a bit of time until this is going to start, so I thought may as well do something with you now. Abu Dhabi, Etihad Arena, Bivol Ramirez, a massive card. You must be so excited.
Definitely excited to be here and to be the first female championship fight in this country. There's a lot of boxing here. There's a lot of boxing in Saudi Arabia, so to have those eyes on me, it's very awesome.
Of course, and now you fight Chantel Cameron in what is the biggest test of her career to date. She's calling it her coming out party. I know that you will be the one stopping that, or at least trying to stop that. What do you make of Chantel? Because she's always been labelled as an amazing talent over here in the UK shores, but never really given that opportunity to get that big fight. And this is that big fight for her. I imagine you would have studied. And what do you make of her?
I don't watch a lot of tape. I've probably seen maybe collectively 2 or 3 rounds of hers. I'm just not one to watch tape for anybody because you expect certain things and then those things don't show up. So I don't even bother with that. But, I know she has great exit strategies. She likes to run and shuffle out. She likes, all females like to hold when they feel my power. So those are the main things I'll be focusing on.
Well, Eddie Hearn mentioned earlier in the week that sort of you came over and you fought Katie Taylor in the UK and you were a little bit raw, but since then you've just come on leaps and bounds. You had those 2 fights over Brackhouse where you just sort of really implemented your name on the female scene, and since then it seems like no one could have stopped you. How have you sort of enjoying this stride? You've moved up weight and you've shown everyone what you can give.
Yeah, I moved up in weight now, moved down in weight. I haven't lost since 2017. I've had a collective of, I think, 8 belts since then. So that's the plan, just to keep the level really high. And this is no different. So we're trying to make double undisputed and get about 6 more belts and, hopefully have a hard time taking those belts home.
How do you expect this fight to plan out? We know that sort of you're someone who's happy to come forward, and you've shown that you've got the power. I think Chantel the same. She's mentioned that she's happy to fight and make it a slug in there. Are you sort of ready for all outcomes?
Oh, I'm ready for everything she says she's going to bring, but I think that's all fairy tales and fibs. But we'll see on Saturday night. I don't think anybody has a proper game plan until when they get hit. It just all goes out the door. She says she has multiple game plans, and we'll just have to see.
Obviously, it's important to only look at this fight, but legacy will be in mind for yourself, and you are starting to cement a brilliant legacy. And people say the term female boxing, but boxing as a whole. How proud are you of yourself, when you look back to 2017 and how much you've come on in that amount of time, and sort of also becoming a role model to young women and young girls who look at the TV screen and be like, Mum, I want to box like that.
That's the goal, is for someone, not even just boxers to want to be like me, but for people to have some kind of motivation from my story, my life story, being homeless to now world champion to now undisputed, possibly double undisputed, being able to quit my day job. I started at a very old age for boxing, mid-20s as an amateur, and only had 25 amateur fights. So, the things that I've been able to do and the speed that we did them is pretty ridiculous.
Well, let's move on. The head of the card, Bivol against Ramirez. We know that Ramirez is a tough, unbeaten challenger. Sort of a few questions about his resume, but wasn't really given the chance. This is his he will want it to be his coming out party. We know that he's big. We know that he's going to try and make it tricky for Bivol, but obviously Bivol coming off that career best win with Canelo. Your thoughts on the fight?
I love how Bivol fights. I actually watch a lot of his fights when I'm on the treadmill. He reminds me a lot of Canelo. I'm sorry, not Canelo, Triple G. He's got a very just robotic kind of basic skill kind of fighting style, and he doesn't change it up for anybody. He keeps his distance really well. He keeps his hands moving so you don't really know what's coming. I love to watch Bivol fight, so hopefully I'll get a chance to see the fight after mine.
Even yesterday, people were just saying how incredible he looked on the pads, just doing combinations. I suppose that fits in with what you just said.
Yeah, he's just very much the same, and it's really hard to get him to change up his game plan. I mean, even after he got rocked really hard by Joe Smith after the bell, he still came back and still was the same fighter, and fighting Canelo, that was like a massive test for him. Still the same fighter, still did the same thing. So I absolutely love his fighting style.
Do you expect to see Bivol the victor in that contest then?
I mean, I have a lot of faith in Bivol. I think when you have a strategy like that and you don't change it up, I think it's very successful. Like you said, he's going to have a hard challenge, so we'll have to see what happens. But I would probably put my money on Bivol.
Well, Jessica, just a final word to you, to the people of Boxing Social in the UK. I imagine obviously a lot of people rooting for Chantal, but you'll have your own fans, and then just fans are people who want to see a good fight in general. Sell it one last time.
Yeah, I love the people in the UK. If you guys are rooting for Chantel, that's totally cool. I just want you to tune in. I want you guys to see an amazing fight, and we're definitely going to put on an awesome show for everybody. Shout out to Chicago, St. Louis, and Belleville.